St. Louis is one of the best value cities in America, but it's also the easiest place to mess up if you don't understand where you're looking. A lot of people move here thinking it's all basically the same and then realize way too late that one commute, one school district, or one boundary can completely change their experience. And today I'm giving you the real pros and cons of living here in St. Louis. No sugarcoating. And by the end of this video, you'll know the 5 biggest reasons people regret moving to St. Louis and the 5 reasons people are moving here from coast to coast and never leave. And I'm going to be calling out specific neighborhoods and suburbs along the way so you can actually pair, what area fits your lifestyle instead of guessing and hoping it works out. Now, quick context before we start. Most pro and con videos talk generalities, but the truth is St. Louis changes block by block, school by school, and commute by commute. So I'm going to be honest on the bad first, and then we'll end on the good. And the first con is the one that surprises out-of-state buyers the most. Con number 1 is St. Louis is a lines on the map city. A lot of people don't realize how different life can be just depending on which side of an invisible line you land on. Your daily life, from your property taxes, city services, school access, and even grocery routes, can change just by being on the opposite side of a boundary. For example, living in the city versus St. Louis County can mean different things, from different tax structures to different municipal services and agencies, all changing your monthly cost. Your day-to-day conveniences can all vary just depending on your address. Some neighborhoods have revitalization plans and historic tax credits, others don't. Some neighborhoods have associations that enforce regulations. Some other ones are, more relaxed and informal. The result is that 2 homes that look the same can be completely different feel to live in. Think about where you spend most of your time. Friends, errands, work. Now, those boundaries shifting things like your commute, taxes, where your kids go to school, all because of a line on the map. Con number 2 is schools can force expensive decisions. If you have kids or even thinking about it, schools in St. Louis can become a big deal very quickly. Now, there are strong public schools, but they're mainly concentrated in specific areas or districts, which makes families face a very early trade-off. You can either pay more for a home in a high demand district like Kirkwood, Webster Grove, or Clayton, or pay less for a home and hope that, private schooling fits your budget over the next decade. Now ask yourself, is the home price or future cost of education more important if you plan on spending the next 10 plus years here? So if you need help looking at specific neighborhoods within your budget or school districts, my name is Jonathan, your St. Louis real estate agent, and I help people just like you buy, sell, and relocate to St. Louis, and I absolutely love it. So whether you're making the move in 9 days or 9 months, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text. I would love to make your next move as smooth as possible with all that information in the link below. Con number 3 is bipolar weather. St. Louis weather can be unpredictable if you're not used to it. From the hot, humid, almost subtropical summers to having, heavy rainfall, thunderstorms, and hail, to those, winters that kind of make you question everything. Last winter, or just last 2 months ago, we had a Christmas that was like no other. Normally it's snowing all the time. Last winter it was like 75 degrees, 71 degrees within there. Everyone's wearing short sleeve shirts, and it just tells you on how crazy that our weather can just shift from being, extremely cold to mild within just a few days. Oh, and tornado season runs from spring to early summer with frequent hailstorms that, can damage your roofs. And you see a lot of people's cars out here that can definitely get hail damage as well. A lot of homes here are fine, with a lot of that raining and hail. Just make sure to get an inspection on the home before buying. There's no roof damage, causing a leak, and then mold, which that can definitely happen. And then as well, just be mindful that a lot of hail does happen, so you might get a few dinks on your car. And then as well, make sure to check the flood map, just to know the house that you buy isn't in a flood zone. My parents, they owned a home and we lost it in 2015 just due to a major flood of a river, and it impacted cities, schools like Eureka, their school flooded. So just be mindful of where you're buying your home and make sure it's not in a flood zone. Con number 4 is that it's a car first city, except in certain pockets. For most people, St. Louis is still a very car dependent city. Now, yes, we do have transit like the Metro light rail system, the Metro bus services that connect parts of the region, but those systems don't cover everything, especially for those, schedules that may not be as convenient for your daily errands. Now, walkability exists, but mainly in specific neighborhoods like Tower Grove South, the Soulard, and Central West End. If you pick the wrong area expecting a walk everywhere lifestyle, you'll quickly feel stuck, driving to the grocery stores, going to work, and going for your daily coffee. Something that most people from, those major transit orientated cities don't expect here. And because so much of the region is built around roads and highways, you'll be more thinking about the insurance premiums and budgeting for your cars more than you would in other, transit orientated cities. Con number 5 is crime versus reality. St. Louis has a national reputation for crime, and that reputation can scare people before they ever arrive. The reality is more nuanced. Many crime metrics in St. Louis has improved dramatically from, the more serious crimes being in more particular and more, specific pockets, just like most major cities. Here's an important point. Crime data isn't just one number. It can vary dramatically based on, neighborhood to neighborhood, city lines to county lines, with the county being more often safer than, some of those city neighborhoods. A practical way to view this is I'll link the, top school ratings and the crime rate maps all below for you to go view yourself, so on which specific neighborhoods and school districts are out of reach and more towards what you're looking for. Alright, now let's get into the pros. Pro number 1 is real affordability still exists. Now let's talk about why people move here from places like California, Chicago, or even New York. Is real affordability. Compared to other major metros, St. Louis can still offer that rare combo. Affordable household ownership and lifestyle, with our homes currently in St. Louis being about 40 to 45% less than the national average at about $235,000. That means your money can go further, not faster. The key though is to understand that prices vary, depending on, certain neighborhoods or specific school districts. So getting that, deal is completely dependent on where you land. Pro number 2 is the walkable and character-filled neighborhoods. One of St. Louis's biggest strengths is its historical neighborhoods and character. With the brick homes, mature trees, walkable sidewalks, corner lot restaurants, and local businesses giving the area more, identity and charm. Neighborhoods like Tower Grove South, Lafayette Square, Forest Park Southeast, and Botanical Heights all offer very different vibes, from the artsy, eccentric, and family orientated. And because many of these areas were built before the car dominant city planning, so you can definitely find areas with a ton of walkability. You just got to make sure you pick the right pocket. with many breweries, coffee shops, parks, and even local businesses just a few minute walk or bike ride away. Something, that's so essential and with accessibility that many people from major metros miss. Pro number 3 is suburbs that deliver for families. If you're moving with kids, these suburbs of St. Louis could be a major win. Places like Ladue, Clayton, Webster Grove, Chesterfield all come up for those, parks, schools, and everyday conveniences. With strong community resources, well-maintained public spaces, and that active neighborhood feel. Now, because many of these suburbs sit right beside the city, you get that balanced feel from more quiet residential, living, less crime rate areas, and as well getting that quick access to the city, for jobs, culture, and entertainment, something not all major metros offer. Pro number 4 is free and low-cost entertainment. This is what surprises almost everyone when moving here. St. Louis has world-class attractions for either free or at a very low cost. For example, St. Louis Zoo has everything you can possibly need and look at for free, while recently I just went down to Chicago with my wife and you can be paying more than like $50 for 2 people. I mean, yeah, just completely for free. And let's get on to the next places. But there's more, from Forest Park's museums, outdoor space, concerts, and personally, me and my wife will go hike at plenty of parks, bike riding, trail riding. There's rivers throughout that you can go, kayaking, floating. Just endless opportunities here for free things that won't break the bank. If you want paid entertainment, places like Six Flags St. Louis, Hidden Valley Ski Resort, we got the Union Station in Six Flags. They're making new roller coasters, the Ferris wheel. You got, plenty of options for getting tours on the Mississippi River, flying a helicopter above the Mississippi River. Just a bunch of options. Pro number 5 is the 30-minute city lifestyle. In many parts of St. Louis, you can build that lifestyle of, work, errands, entertainment, all within about that 30-minute commute. Now, that convenience changes your everyday life and especially your weekends. So definitely plan on going out more, especially with that, lower cost and food and, daily lifestyle kind of adding in there. And also another benefit to that is way less traffic you're going to have to sit in compared to other major metros. So there you have it. St. Louis can be a huge value play, and it is for most that move here, but only if it fits your lifestyle. So again, if you're wanting to narrow down on neighborhoods or budgeting, I would love to help. And again, if you're planning on making the move in 9 days or 9 months, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, and I would love to make your next move as smooth as possible. With all that being said, I hope to see you around town.